Come on down to the very first Zed game show contest. Today's contest is very simple. You have a 50-50 chance to win. And if you win, your name goes into a drawing for a chance to win a lifetime supply of pineapple pizza. What is today's contest? I'm about to show you two different CNN corrections. One of them is real and one of them is fake. If you pick the one that is real, if you choose correctly, your name goes into the drawing. The first CNN correction. Correction. A previous version of this story misstated that Rep. Ted Lieu grabbed a crowbar before leaving his office. He grabbed a pro-bar energy bar. Is that a real correction? Or is this a real correction? Correction. A previous version of this story misstated that Senator Ted Cruz was seen wearing a pin featuring a Q symbol. It was later discovered this was not a Q pin, but a Doritos snack chip stuck to his suit. Which of these corrections is real? We'll find out here in a little bit. I'm Tyler Zed. Welcome to Zeducation. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to another episode of That Didn't Age Well. Back to the intro real quick. One of those is very real. It's hard to tell, I know, but should we expect anything less from CNN at this point? And before I show you which of those corrections is a real correction, we need to go over our list of things that didn't age well. And today's episode is jam-packed. We got Jack Dorsey. We got Piers Morgan. We got Kamala Harris. We have a lot of things that didn't age well this week. So I think you guys are going to love today's episode. And before we get into today's list, let me know down in the comments which one you think is real. Just type 1 or 2, the Ted Lieu correction or the Ted Cruz correction. Let me know down in the comments. While you're down there, please subscribe to this channel. Please have the bell clicked for notifications when new videos are uploaded. And let's get on to today's list of things that didn't age well. Number 10. Cancel culture has been a part of our culture for a couple years now, unfortunately. And here is an example of how that has seeped into the NFL. A sports writer named Marlo Alto wrote this headline in Detroit saying, Dan Campbell, Detroit Lions coach frontrunner, made controversial anti-gay remark in college. In college, wow, what was that, 2-3 decades ago? He said something that long ago, and you're gonna write an article and try to get him canceled so he doesn't get the head coaching job for the Lions? And the remarkable part about this attempted canceling is that Mr. Marlowe, he has a history of this himself, which is even more recent and very public on Twitter, tweeting things like this, haha, you can fill in the blank. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that this was not the only one. Many things like this on this man's accounts. But he wants to go ahead and write articles that slander others so they don't get coaching positions. He wants to cancel them when he himself doesn't have the squeakiest clean past. Number 9. The media has propped up Governor Cuomo because at some point he is going to run for president. I'll go ahead and predict that right now. But even the New York Times can't avoid this horrendous leader in Governor Cuomo. After unused vaccines are thrown in trash, Cuomo loosens rules. That's right, Governor Cuomo, the guy that wrote a book on how to handle the crisis. His policies are forcing providers to throw vaccines in the trash. They had been forced to throw out precious vaccine doses because of difficulties finding patients who matched precisely with the state's strict vaccination guidelines and the steep penalties they would face had they made a mistake. So the authoritarian governor, Cuomo, his guidelines were so bad that they forced people to throw away vaccinations. Wow. I wonder how many people he could have saved had those vaccinations been administered. But I also want to give you guys some hope with Governor Cuomo and with New York. Not everyone there is nuts. Take, for example, Bills fans. When the Bills made the playoffs, Governor Cuomo said that he was going to attend the game. But Bills fans said no. Buffalo Bills fans signed petition to ban Governor Cuomo from attending playoff game. You're not even a Bills fan, they said. And that did age well because Cuomo said he wouldn't attend Bills playoff game. I commend you, Bills fans. I'm rooting for you guys to win the Super Bowl. Number 8, we go to the UK and Piers Morgan. And this is what Piers has been saying for the last year almost with the coronavirus situation.
High-profile morons, which is what they've become, continuing to downplay this and to say it's not what it actually is, that will cost lives. People are going to die if they believe this is not actually a serious situation.
High-profile morons are causing this thing to spread. They're causing people to lose their lives. Wow. This is Piers, though, when he's off camera and he's not fear-mongering. Here he is. Piers Morgan appears to flout coronavirus rules as he fails to wear a mask in a taxi. And here is Piers over the holidays on vacation. Holy cow. So Piers, you got into a taxi without a mask. How many people went in there before you? You exposed the driver. Who's the driver? Does he have old folks at home? I don't know. You could have exposed them. And then you were so non-serious about it that you got on a plane and you went to the Caribbean. You went to Antigua. Wow. High-profile morons is what you said, right? Number 7. For this one, we go to Slate's, one of the far left-wing media outlets, who said stuff like this in the past. Non-violence is an important tool for protests, but so is violence. That was this summer. They're literally promoting violence, saying that it is okay sometimes if it's justified. But now, obviously, when it doesn't fit their agenda, this is what they say. It wasn't a sit-in. This was a violent attack. It was a criminal act. Which is it? I don't know. It's so hard to keep up with the media hypocrisy at this point. Number 6, more hypocrisy from the DC mayor, when back this summer, she said this. DC mayor asks Trump to withdraw all extraordinary law enforcement and guard troops from city. Just 6 months ago, she didn't want the troops there. She didn't want the troops, but now the DC mayor is doing this. Pentagon approves DC mayor's request to deploy National Guard for upcoming demonstrations. So it's okay for one time, but not the other. Typical politician. Number 5. Speaking of hypocrites, we go to Twitter. We go to Jack Dorsey for the next few. First, starting with Twitter, when they tweeted this the other day.
Ahead of the Ugandan election, we're hearing reports that internet service providers are being ordered to block social media and messaging apps. We strongly condemn internet shutdowns. They are hugely harmful, violate basic human rights and the principles of the open internet.
Going on to say,
access to information and freedom of expression, including the public conversation on Twitter, is never more important than during democratic processes, particularly elections.
And this is the same Twitter who, in the run-up to our elections just a couple weeks before, did this. Twitter blocks users from sharing New York Post article on Hunter Biden. Twitter refuses to unlock New York Post account unless Hunter Biden posts deleted. Twitter, I just want to go back to your own words here. Access to information and freedom of expression, including the public conversation on Twitter, is never more important than during democratic processes, particularly elections. So why did you censor this information? Number 4, back to Twitter and CNN and MSNBC. As we know, there was a huge purge of accounts on Twitter, and a lot of people were losing a lot of followers. We talked about this on the podcast. But when this was highlighted by a lot of conservative pundits, MSNBC and CNN pundits said this about them. From MSNBC.
I can think of nothing more pathetic or thirsty than constantly monitoring your follower account. Who cares? Have some self-respect. My God, it's embarrassing.
From CNN's Jake Tapper.
I would tell you how many followers I have lost, but I have no idea how many I had before because I'm an adult.
And here are the same two clowns doing exactly what they are frowning upon. Chris Hayes.
Just hit 20K followers. Welcome aboard, everyone.
Jake Tapper.
29 followers until 100,000. Who will be lucky Hundy?
The girl with 27 followers lecturing the guy with 63,000 on what's funny.
Oh, can you imagine? Jake Tapper using his follower accounts comparing with people that are criticizing him. Jake, you must not be an adult, according to your words, and Chris Hayes, that's embarrassing, according to your words. Number 3, we go to Jack Dorsey for Twitter, who in 2015 tweeted, Twitter stands for freedom of expression. We stand for speaking truth to power, and we stand for empowering dialogue. Unless, of course, it's dialogue that Jack doesn't like. Number 2, and guys, remember all of this silencing was due to the possibility of inciting violence. But here is some incitement of violence from people like Colin Kaepernick, and these tweets are still up, by the way. May 2020, when civility leads to death, revolting is the only logical reaction. The cries for peace will rain down, and when they do, they will land on deaf ears because your violence has brought this resistance. We have the right to fight back. Rest in power, George Floyd. The definition of dog whistling for violence. And this wasn't condemned by Twitter. This was actually promoted by people like Jack Dorsey. More Start Small grants. $3 million to Colin Kaepernick's Your Rights Camp. Double standard, Jack? Number 1. And on to number 1, we go to Kamala Harris, the fakest politician in the history of politicians, and this example further proves that. For a while now, she has been telling this story, which she just retold to Elle magazine. And in this interview, she told this story. Speaking to Elle magazine for its October cover story, Harris detailed a time when she became separated from her parents at a civil rights march in Oakland, California. My mother tells me the story about how I'm fussing, and she's like, "Baby, what do you want? What do you need?" And I just looked at her and I said, "Freedom," Harris told the magazine. A little toddler in Oakland said this, which is very funny because she literally plagiarized this from a Martin Luther King story in a Playboy magazine interview back in the 60s. And here's the MLK story. MLK said, "I will never forget a moment in Birmingham when a white policeman accosted a little girl, 7 or 8 years old, who was walking in a demonstration with her mother. 'What do you want?' the policeman asked her gruffly, and the little girl looked at him straight in the eye and answered, 'Feed 'em,'" he continued. Kamala Harris plagiarizing, making up a story, and not just plagiarizing MLK? Wow. Again, the fakest politician in the history of politicians. This is the type of crap that we have to look forward to. Kamala Harris doing anything and everything for a vote. That is the truth. She doesn't care about anything. She doesn't care about truth. She cares about power. And she further proves that when she lies like this. She's been caught lying many, many times. Let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think about her plagiarizing, making stuff up, trying to gain approval of people? Let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think about Kamala? What do you think about Jack promoting BLM and silencing others? Hypocritically talking about the freedom of expression on his platform and then denying the freedom of expression. And before I go, let's quickly flash back to the intro. Which one of these CNN corrections is real? The answer? The first one. Correction, a previous version of this story misstated that Rep. Ted Lieu grabbed a crowbar before leaving his office. He grabbed a Pro-Bar energy bar. Yes, guys, this is a very real correction, which brings up a lot of questions. A, for starters, if he had a crowbar, why would he have a crowbar in Congress? B, if he really grabbed a crowbar, what is Minnie Mouse Ted Lieu going to do with it? It's not going to help him much. And C, if his life was in such danger on that day, why did he take the time out of his day to grab a Pro-Bar? An energy bar. Why would you go, if your life is in danger, if things were that bad that day, why would you grab a Pro-Bar? Lots of questions unanswered, guys, but you know what, CNN, with the hard-hitting journalism, I'm glad they corrected it. But this just further shows their inability to first report on the facts, even though they like to think otherwise. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. While you're down there, please like this video. Please help me get it recommended to others. That's it for today's video. Until next time, I'm Tyler Zed, and this is Education.
A man and a woman.
Idiots.